So first we've got some strong storms, and then we will see some cooler air coming in behind that. The timing for your evening storm threat, the later on it gets, the more disruptive it'll be. So between 8 p.m. all the way through the overnight hours until 5 a.m., that's when I'll be watching radar closely. All of the severe threats are on the table: an isolated tornado, some gusty wind, and I can't rule out the possibility of a couple of hailstorms too. This will likely impact any travel you had penciled in for later on tonight, whether that's on the road or by the skies. Radar right now shows we're mostly quiet. It is warm, it is humid, some isolated showers trying to stream up 288, but really fizzling out. That's the tension building as this line makes its way closer towards southeast Texas. We have a lot of instability. Instability is formed by heat and humidity, and how that counteracts with the much cooler air that is approaching. So hour by hour, we will start to see a few different peaks of rain. So for this morning, rain chances are really low. By the time you're having lunch, that's when I think you could see a couple of storms out ahead of the main line that still takes a few hours to get here. So remember, after 8 o'clock is when most of the storms start to fire off. So that's a snapshot at 2:30, a couple of isolated thunderstorms throughout the area, but the main line is still out toward northwest. So that's a snapshot at 8:30, starting to drop in from Huntsville down the North Freeway towards the Woodland and Spring. Getting to the I-10 corridor, the loop in the Beltway, seeing the strong thunderstorms during the overnight hours. Now you're looking at a snapshot of 2:30. By 5 in the morning, the showers are in Galveston, and by the time most of us are waking up, say 6, 7 o'clock, that is when most of the weather has calmed down. So I think your commute for tomorrow morning looks good. The commute this morning looks good too. It's just this evening that we have to watch for the severe weather. We're under a threat level 2 for most of our cities and counties. This is on the 1 to 5 scale. Again, for all of the severe components: wind, isolated tornado, hail. The further that we go into the coastline, the more the line starts to lose steam. The good news is this is a quick mover and it's a thin line, so we're not going to see a lot of accumulation. Our northern cities and counties get the majority of the moisture, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, and then as the line gets towards downtown, maybe half an inch of rain, and then the rain totals continue to drop off. This morning we are really warm, 69 degrees. That's a 12-degree increase compared to this time yesterday. That's the instability I was talking about. The heat and the humidity will be fuel for the later storms, which is why today is in red, a weather impact alert day. A 50% chance because most of the day is dry. Overnight, though, that's when things start to kick up. Early Tuesday storms, 20% rain chance there, both days in the low to mid 80s. By Wednesday, the cooler air starts filtering in, and by Thursday, which is Thanksgiving, wow, it is perfect. Sunny and cool, a high of 68 degrees, no rain, 40s in the morning in case you're doing a turkey trot on Thursday, which I am. Bundle up, wear some layers, because it is going to be nice and cool. 7-day forecast shows that cool air takes us all the way through Friday, and then we've got our next chance for storms this weekend. So Jen, one day definitely stands out in the 7-day. It's today, a weather impact alert. Just be really cautious of any late night plans.
So we're projecting a record Thanksgiving, nearly 82 million Americans traveling, and we just look at domestic travel. So we don't include anybody traveling internationally or anybody traveling for business. It's just leisure domestic travel. So nearly 82 million is a record, would be a record for a Thanksgiving. And we've been seeing these records post-pandemic. So ever since 2023, we've been setting new records that have surpassed pre-pandemic numbers. Thanksgiving is the busiest holiday of them all. So when it comes to travel, this is the holiday that most people travel for. Why? Because it's not affiliated with any gift giving or fireworks show. It's really just about spending time with people you love and family, friends, gathering around, not doing a whole lot, just sort of hanging out. And so we see that people really find a lot of meaning in this holiday and will do what they can to go out of town. And we consider travel 50 miles or more from home. So it doesn't have to be far. You can just hop in the car and do an hour road trip and you're part of the travel world.
Speaking of the roads, is that more common? Is driving more common this time of year or flying?
Driving is always, no matter what holiday, no matter what time of year, more people drive than fly. That's just numbers, right? Everybody has a car for the most part. So when it comes to holiday travel, between 85% and 90% of people who travel drive. So that makes up the most, the biggest slice of the pie. Now, when it comes to flying, it's usually about 7%. So we're projecting 6 million travelers going by air, and that's still quite a lot. I mean, that would also set a new record in the air travel category. We typically see between 5 and 6 million people traveling by air over Thanksgiving, but this is on the high end of that. So that would be another record. But the roads, yeah, most people drive. At least 73 million will be on the roads this Thanksgiving, and that number could end up being higher if there are people who last minute decided, I don't want to fly, I want to avoid airports, and I'm going to switch to a road trip.
Is there a trend when most people leave for these trips and return?
Yeah, most people will leave for Thanksgiving. It's Tuesday, Wednesday. Those are the most popular days. And then coming back Sunday and Monday. Over time, it became that, initially it was like Wednesday and Sunday were the most popular. And then we would warn everybody those are terrible days. So then people switch them, and now it's Tuesday and Monday. But now those days have become really, really popular. Also, it depends if families have kids. If you have kids who are in school, you're kind of then bound by the school calendar. And depending on the school system, some kids are off on Wednesday, some have a half a day on Tuesday. So that also plays a role in what families do. Some parents don't mind pulling the kids from school a day early and hitting the road and flying. But for the most part, that Tuesday, Wednesday are always the busiest leading into the holiday.
Well, unfortunately, I was checking the weather, and it does look like we are about to be in for possibly two systems during Thanksgiving week that could bring some really, not good weather to the eastern half of the U.S. What do you recommend as far as people navigating that?
The most important thing is to be aware of it. I think people get caught off guard sometimes when it comes to the weather because they're busy paying attention to whatever's going to be happening in their hometown, right? So like, let's say you live in Raleigh, North Carolina, you're going to pay attention to the Raleigh weather. Maybe you're not paying attention to what the weather is at your destination. Or if you're driving, let's say you're going from Raleigh to Boston or Raleigh to DC, New York. Are you paying attention to the weather as you head north, what the weather is going to be in those other states? So I think it's being mindful of what the forecast is, not just where you're originating, but also where you're heading. And then thinking about, especially if you're driving, you have the flexibility and the power to leave whenever you want. So can you switch the times? Don't be so stuck in your original plan A that you are like, I'm leaving Wednesday no matter what. But if it's going to be storming or if it's going to be snowing and it's going to be, not just like a little flurries, let's say there's an ice storm or there's a rainstorm wherever you are, you can adjust the time then. Maybe leave a day early. Maybe leave on Thanksgiving morning itself. And if you can be there, let's say you have a 4-hour, 5-hour road trip, maybe you can still make it on time for Thanksgiving dinner. But I think it's keeping safety in mind. Don't just think of your trip as the most important thing and overlook the fact that if you don't get there safely, none of this matters anyway. So with so many people projected on the roads too, we anticipate more crashes, people driving impaired, people driving distracted, not slowing down and moving over when they have people on the side of the road, whether it's a tow truck provider or law enforcement. That's the law. You have to reduce your speed or change lanes. All of those safety tips and reminders, and it's the law, people sometimes overlook because they're so busy wanting to just get to where they're going. But again, if we don't get there safely, none of this matters. And I think too, it only takes one crash to close down an interstate for hours. So I think if you, especially if there's bad weather along the route that you're taking, be mindful of it, reduce your speed significantly, and just go get off the interstate, go pull into a gas station or a rest area or a restaurant and just wait it out a little bit. It's just not worth it. You might get there a little bit later, but you'll get there safely.
And last question, just when it comes to air travel and those considerations, I mean, we all know what a nightmare it can be to be stuck in an airport with children for 10 hours. What's your advice there? When do you just call it quits and decide not to go?
Yeah, I mean, that really depends on the magnitude of your trip, on how important it is. I think if you are seeing significant delays at the airport, first of all, plan ahead in terms of bringing snacks with you, bringing entertainment, especially if you have young children with you, bring entertainment, bring chargers. Also avoid checking a bag because when you pack light, the fewer bags you have with you, and especially if you only have carry-on, that helps you then make decisions more quickly. You don't have to worry about going to get your suitcase. Once you've checked that, now that's one thing that you've got to worry about. Also, just consider how you're getting to the airport, if you're leaving your car there, if you're not, because if you get dropped off, then the nice thing about that is you don't have to worry about your car. Let's say you fly somewhere and then you have issues coming back, returning, then you don't have to worry that that you're still paying the daily rate for a garage. Thinking of those little things, ultimately you cannot control a delay or a cancellation at the airport. So I think you just have to go into it understanding that things can happen, but have a plan B. Understand that, okay, am I going to rent a car? Would I call it off and just stay home? Would I then just switch plans and go visit somebody else who's closer and I don't have to fly to? But, ultimately the airports can be frustrating because there are so many of us traveling, and weather then just throws this wrench into everything because you can't control it. Typically we advise take that first morning flight. Those morning flights tend to be delayed the least. But with weather, right? Weather can happen at any time of the day. So that's just the only one that can be frustrating. And unfortunately, Thanksgiving and then the year-end holidays fall during a time when winter weather is a problem. Although during the summer we have thunderstorms and all that too to worry about, and tropical storms. But I think for air travel especially, it's just keeping in mind that anything can happen. What would you do in the event of a significant delay? And yeah, what's your tolerance level? I mean, are you cool with like a 5-hour delay just sitting at the gate? I don't mind it. I go shopping, I eat, I kind of hang out. But that's how much I don't like to drive. So it just depends on what your tolerance is. I will say that looking ahead to the year-end holidays and even spring break, when you're talking about travel insurance comes into play here because it can help you if there is a significant delay and you're having to buy food at the airport or stay at a hotel or car rental. A travel insurance policy can help you with that. But the key is to know what you're signing up for, read the fine print, or just talk to a travel agent who can walk you through it. I think people sometimes you check the little box if you're booking online and you go, okay, I'll be covered if something happens, but then something happens and then the policy is like, oh, but that doesn't cover that. So just be mindful of what you're paying if you're getting travel insurance. And the best advice is just to do it through a travel agent that's a human that you can ask. If this happens, am I covered? If there's a snowstorm, am I covered, or is it a known it won't cover it? So that travel insurance can certainly come in handy, but you have to understand what you're buying.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's great.
Well, thank you. I hope this helps, and good luck with your story.
Absolutely.